The ship landed gently on the surface of Varelia, the engines hummed low, and the soft wind carried the scent of strange flowers across the landing field. The sky was violet, with 3 small moons hanging in the distance like silver coins. Everything looked calm, but Toma felt the weight of many eyes watching him. He stepped out of the shuttle, his boots sinking slightly into the soft blue grass. His uniform was simple gray, with a small Earth emblem on the chest. No weapons, no helmet. The Serenai had made it clear, come in peace, or don't come at all. Toma was an engineer, not a soldier. He had worked on machines for most of his life. But now he was Earth's representative chosen, not because he was strong, but because he was steady, quiet, careful, the kind of person who listened before he spoke. A group of Serenai stood waiting. Tall, calm, and graceful, they looked almost human except for the soft glow in their eyes and the way their hair shimmered like water under moonlight. Their clothes were made of a light, flowing fabric that changed color with their movement. They didn't smile, but they didn't seem cold either, just watchful. One of them stepped forward. "I am Nara," she said. Her voice was soft but clear, like wind through glass. "I will be your guide during your stay." Toma nodded. "Thank you. I am Toma of Earth." Nara looked at him closely as if trying to see beneath his skin. "We're not what we expected." "Good," he said. She raised an eyebrow. That was the first sign of emotion he had seen on her face. They walked together through the open fields, toward a tall white structure that looked like it had grown from the ground itself. Varelia was not like Earth. There were no machines humming. In the background, no sound of traffic or the buzz of electricity. Everything here felt ... alive. Even the buildings breathed inside. The air was cool and clean. The walls glowed faintly. Other Serenai watched as Toma passed, their expressions unreadable. I felt like a small flame in a room full of mirrors. Over. The next few days, Toma followed Nara through the city. They attended meetings, visited gardens, and sat in quiet rooms where thoughts were shared without words. The Serenai didn't rush. They believed that time should be respected. Every question was answered slowly. Every answer opened a new question. Toma learned their ways, their language, their history. He learned that they had once traveled the stars long before humans even knew how to build fire. But then they had stopped. They chose peace over power, silence over expansion. "You came to our world," Nara said one evening, as they sat beside a glowing pool. "Why?" Toma looked at the water. "Earth is breaking. Our people fight. Our sky burns. We don't want to conquer. We want to survive. Maybe even grow. But we can't do it alone anymore. Do you think we will help?" she asked. "I don't know," he said honestly. "But I had to come and ask." Nara was silent for a long time. Then she stood. "Tomorrow, you will choose." "Choose what?" Toma asked. She turned her head slightly, but didn't face him. "A bondmate. As part of the peace offering. One Serenai and one human must form a living link. Only then can true sharing begin." Toma blinked. "A bondmate? It is not marriage," she said. "It is not romance. It is connection. Mind to mind, heart to heart. If the bond fails, so does the alliance. And how do I choose?" "Well, no," she said, "or you will fail." She walked away, leaving Toma alone with his thoughts. That night Toma couldn't sleep. He sat by the window of his room. Watching the moons rise slowly, his mind raced. How could he choose someone he didn't know? How could anyone be ready for something so deep, so permanent? The next morning, he was led to a large hall. Inside, 10 Serenai stood in a circle. Each had volunteered to be a bondmate. They simply waited. Toma walked slowly among them. He looked at their faces. Their expressions were calm, their postures still. They were beautiful each in a unique, unreal way. But beauty wasn't what he was looking for. He didn't know what he was looking for. Then he saw her. Nara stood at the edge of the room, not among the chosen 10. She watched, silent as always. She had not offered herself. But her eyes met his, and for a moment, Toma saw something different. Not calm, not silence, but strength, not the kind that breaks things. It's the kind that holds everything together. He stepped away from the circle and walked toward her. I choose. Nara, he said. The room fell quiet. Even the air seemed to stop moving. Nara looked surprised for the first time. I am not among the candidates. I still choose you, Toma said. There was a long pause. Then Nara spoke softly. You know nothing about me, that's true, he said. But when I looked into your eyes, you didn't look away. Toma stood still, his words hanging in the air like a soft echo. I choose Nara. All eyes turned to her. Even the quiet walls of the chamber seemed to pause. Nara did not move. She looked at Toma, her expression unreadable. You were not supposed to choose me, she said calmly. Toma gave a small nod. I know. The leader of the council, an elder Serenay named Viren, stepped forward. Nara did not offer herself as a bondmate. The choice is outside the tradition. Toma didn't flinch. Then maybe your tradition needs to see something new. There was a moment of silence. Then Nara finally turned her face fully toward him. Why did you choose me? Toma's voice was quiet but steady. Because he didn't look away. Her eyes softened just a little. That is not an answer. I'm not sure I have the right words yet, he replied. But I knew it was you. The council exchanged glances. Viren looked at Nara. Do you accept? She took a long breath. I do. The bond ritual took place at sunset, in a wide field under the open sky. Nara and Toma stood in the center of a glowing circle made from small stones. The ground was warm, the air was still. Around them, the other Serenai watched in silence. Toma's heart beat faster. He had faced machines, storms, and hunger. But never something like this. Bonding was not a ceremony of words. It was a joining of thoughts, emotions, memories. Once done, it could not be undone. Nara stepped closer. Her voice was low and smooth. This is not about love. It is not about control. This is about truth. Understand, Toma said, though he wasn't sure he fully did. Open your mind, she said. Toma closed his eyes. He felt warmth at first like the sun on his skin. Then, slowly, a pressure. Not painful, but deep. Like someone knocking gently on the door of his thoughts. He let it in, and then it began. Images flashed through, his mind not his own. A garden with floating petals. A child running silently through silver grass. A tall, shadowed figure speaking in a calm voice. Nara's memories, her fears, her moments of pride and shame. He saw her sitting alone, watching other Sarani from afar, training, learning, always in silence, never praised, never comforted. Not because she was weak, but because she was expected to be strong then. Just as suddenly, she saw him. Toma's memories poured into her. The crowded cities of Earth, the dust-filled air, a boy watching stars from a rooftop, dreaming of a world beyond the smoke, a man fixing broken machines, while others shouted in the streets, a heart carrying quiet hope, even when everything seemed lost. They both gasped. The link faded slowly, like a tide pulling back from the shore. Nara stepped back, breathing heavily. So did Toma. It is done, she whispered. The circle of stones began to glow, then slowly dimmed. Around them the watchers bowed. The bond was real. Later that night, Toma sat beside a quiet stream that ran through the edge of the city. He stared at the water, his mind still swimming with the memories he had seen. They were not just pictures, they had feeling. Wait, some of Nara's moments still clung to him like distant dreams. He heard her footsteps behind him. Are you well? She asked. I think so, he said with a small smile. I've never had anyone walk through my life like that. She sat beside him. The stream sparkled in the starlight. You saw my childhood, she said, my silence, my training. You were strong even when they didn't see it, Toma said. She looked at him. You saw pain. You felt loneliness. You saw courage. he replied, and something else. She tilted her head. What? You never stopped searching for meaning, he said. Even when you were told not to. There was a pause. Then Nara turned her eyes to him fully, and then, with no warning, she asked the question again. Did you choose me for my beauty? Toma looked at her. Her voice wasn't proud or angry. It was soft, curious, almost afraid. He shook his head. No, her eyes did not turn away. Then why? She asked. Toma picked up a smooth stone from the water and turned it in his hand. Because you didn't wear a mask. The others stood proudly, ready to be chosen. But you stood aside. You observed, you thought, you didn't pretend. That's rare. Nara was quiet. I didn't come to Virilia to be impressed, he continued. I came because Earth is falling apart. We need more than science. We need wisdom, balance, and people who can see through silence. She looked at the stream, and if I had said no, I would have accepted it, Toma said. But I still would have believed I made the right choice. She smiled, then small and slow. Her first real smile. You are not what I expected, Toma, of Earth, he smiled back. Good. The wind picked up gently, stirring the grass around them. In the sky, the three moons drifted closer together, sign the Serenai believed that new paths were forming. As they sat beside the stream, two minds bonded by truth, not by power or beauty, began to understand what it meant to trust. Not as strangers, not as saviors, but as equals. The sun on Virilia rose gently, lighting up the crystal blue hills. A light mist hung over the gardens as birds with glowing wings glided through the trees. Toma stood near the edge of a smooth stone platform, watching the sky, breathing deeply. Today was the day of the echopatha trial for newly bonded pairs. He had heard of it during his lessons with Nara. It was not a test of strength or knowledge. It was a trial of connection, a walk through the mind where both partners faced memories good and bad together. If they failed to trust, the bond would weaken. If they succeeded, the bond would become something stronger than any agreement or document. Toma looked at Nara as she approached. You look calm, he said. I am not, she replied, though her voice was steady. The echopath has no rules, only reflection. I've faced machines that exploded in my hands. This still feels more dangerous. It is, Nara said, because machines don't show you your heart. The echopath was located deep. Within the hall of silence around, silver structure that sat on the edge of a still lake. Inside, there were no lights, no doors, and no walls, just a soft glowing floor and open air. The space felt alive, as if it could breathe. Viren, the elder of the council, stood at the center. You may begin, he said, raising his hand. Toma and Nara stepped forward. The moment their feet touched the glowing ring, everything changed. At first, Toma saw only light, then shadows, then ... Something else. He was in a room. It was his room. Earth. A small space. Metal walls. A bunk bed. And the soft hum of a broken air vent. He saw his younger self sitting at a desk, drawing star maps. Alone, he turned and saw Nara beside him, watching quietly. You were lonely, she said. I was, Toma admitted. But I was dreaming too. The room faded. Now they stood in a crowded city. Smoke in the air. People shouting. Soldiers marching. Toma tried to pull Nara back. I don't want you to see this part. I already have, she said. Together, they watched his memory of a protest gone wrong. Toma had tried to stop a fight, but he was pushed down, ignored, forgotten in the chaos. He stood again, slowly as he always did. You never fought back, Nara said. I didn't want to become like them. She nodded. Then the scene vanished. Now the world changed again. This time, it was her memory. They were in a large room made of silver glass. A child stood in the center, Nara, smaller, thinner, looking straight ahead as older Serenai circled her. Silence is strength, one voice said. Emotion is weakness, said another. Nara trembled. Just once. They taught you to hide yourself. Toma whispered. They taught me to survive, she answered. Next, they were in a high garden, with stars above. A teenage Nara sat alone, knees pulled to her chest. Her eyes were red, though no tears fell. I felt everything, she said. I just never showed it. Toma knelt beside her. He didn't have to. She looked at him. For a moment, the memory Nara saw him. Somehow, even inside her memory, his presence changed the shape of it, made it lighter. The path shifted again. Now they were both walking down a long hallway with mirrors on either side. But these mirrors didn't show their faces. They showed their fears. Toma saw a mirror where he stood before a council of humans, failing to speak. Failing to be heard, he stepped back. Nara saw herself in another mirror sitting on a throne while others bowed. Her face was empty. Alone, she turned away. This is where most fail, came Viren's voice, echoing faintly around them. Will you face the mirror, or will you break the bond? Toma reached out and placed his hand on the mirror. I was afraid of being small. I thought no one would listen. And now, Nara asked. He turned to her. Now I speak anyway. She looked at her own reflection, at the cold, queen-like version of herself. I feared they would love my strength, but never me. She stepped forward. But now, someone sees both. The path began to dissolve. They found themselves once more on the glowing platform in the Hall of Silence. Viren stood before them. You completed the echo path, he said. The bond is true. Nara looked at Toma. Her voice was quiet, thoughtful.
No.
You did not run from my memories. Neither did you, Toma said. That's what matters. That evening, they walked together near the lake. The water was still. Soft breeze passed through the glowing trees. Toma picked up a flat stone and tossed it. It skipped across the surface 3 times before sinking. I never thought I'd share my mind like that, he said. Most Serenai don't either, Nara replied. It's rare, risky, but you let me in. You walked in gently, she said. That's why I did, he smiled. So what now? We work, Nara said. We build the bridge between our worlds, step by step. Toma nodded. Together. Looked at him, then spoke with the smallest smile. You did well. For a human. Toma laughed softly. You're not so bad yourself. The stars above shone brighter than ever. To minds once strangers were now linked by truth, tested by memory, and tempered by trust. The real journey was just beginning. Days passed peacefully after the echo path. Toma and Nara worked together every morning, walking side by side through the floating gardens and learning rooms of Virelia. Their minds were connected now, not fully open at all times, but clear enough that thoughts and feelings moved between them like soft winds. Toma brought human ideas. Nara brought ancient wisdom. Together they wrote the beginning of a Plan 1 that would allow humans and Serenai to share knowledge, technology, and maybe, someday, homes. It felt like the beginning of something new. But peace is not always simple. Even in the most silent places, tension can grow like a shadow. One evening, a new shuttle arrived from Earth. It was unexpected. Nara stood at the edge of the landing field, her face calm but alert. Toma stood beside her. The shuttle door opened, and 2 humans stepped out, Commander Bryn and Dr. Ellen. Toma knew them both. Bryn was tall, strong, and always sharp with words. Len was quiet, but her eyes missed nothing. Bryn looked around the glowing field with a skeptical expression. This place is too quiet, he said. No machines, no defense, not even lights. That's because they don't need weapons to survive, Toma said, trying to keep his voice calm. Bryn raised an eyebrow. And what if one day they do? Nara watched the exchange, but said nothing. Dr. Ellen stepped forward, smiling slightly. We're not here to argue. We're here to understand the bond and confirm its strength. Toma frowned. You don't believe it's real? Bryn shrugged. Belief doesn't build. Trust. Proof does. The following day, the council allowed Bryn and Ellen to observe a full bond test, this time between Toma and Nara. The test wasn't just mental. It required a task only true bondmates could perform. The lifted bridge at the edge of the sea. Two glowing platforms floated in midair, separated by a wide gap. Only by matching their thoughts and feelings could bonded minds draw a path of light between the two and cross safely. Toma and Nara stood together, eyes closed. "Are you ready?" she whispered. "Yes," he said, though inside he felt Bryn's doubt like a stone in his chest. They joined hands. A soft hum rose from beneath their feet. Energy formed between the platforms, growing with each shared thought. Toma focused on trust. Nara focused on connection. The light began to form. But then a cold thought slipped into Toma's mind. What if you fail in front of everyone? It wasn't Nara's. It was Bryn's. Somehow his presence, his silent doubt, had slipped through the bond like a crack in glass. The light between the platforms trembled. Nara opened her eyes. "Toma, your focus." "I'm trying." Said, "You must quiet the outside. Come back to me." He took a breath, pushed Bryn's voice away, found her mind again, her calm, her strength. Slowly, the bridge of light formed again, solid and bright. They walked across it step by step until they reached the other side. The test was complete. Later, alone in the gardens, Toma sat in silence. Nara approached him, her eyes gentle. "You were strong," she said. "You held the bond under pressure." "I almost broke it," Toma replied. "Bryn's doubt got inside me." "You're human," Nara said. "And still you stood with me." He looked at her. "You think the council will let the alliance happen?" "I believe they want to, but now others are watching." Toma nodded, including Earth. That night, something changed. An alarm echoed through the sky, a deep, soft sound, like a heart slowing down. Nara woke instantly. She rushed to the main hall with Toma beside her. Viren was already there, along with others. "The life core has been disturbed," he said. "The heart of Virelia." Toma's eyes widened. "What does that mean?" Nara turned to him. "It powers the land itself. It breathes with us. If it is damaged, Virelia will change, maybe fall." Viren's face was tight with worry. Someone entered the lower chambers. "We do not know how." Nara closed her eyes. "The bondmates are the only ones allowed near the heart." Toma's stomach turned. Someone wanted to break trust. Just then, a message arrived. It was from one of the watchers near the mountain pass. Two figures were seen near the life core chamber. One of them wore earth colors. Toma's heart sank. "No," he whispered. "Bryn." At dawn, the council met. Nara and Toma stood before them. "If Bryn entered the core without permission," Nara said, "it is not just insult. It is danger." Looked at Toma. "This is a test for you now. Your people came with your word. Do you still stand by it?" Toma stood straight. "I do. Let me speak to Bryn." "Only the bonded may approach him," Viren said. Nara placed a hand on Toma's shoulder. "Then we go together." They found Bryn standing near the mountain gate, looking out toward the sea. "Why did you enter the chamber?" Toma asked. Walking toward him, Bryn didn't turn. "Because I needed to see the truth. They say their world is pure. I wanted to see what powered it, how it truly works." "You had no right," Nara said, her voice still calm. Bryn turned finally. "What if they are hiding something? What if this peace is a mask?" Toma stepped closer. "And what if it's not?" Bryn looked at him. "You've changed, Toma?" "Yes," Toma said. "I changed because I finally saw a world where strength doesn't mean control, where silence doesn't mean fear." Bryn was quiet. "You still have time to understand," Toma added. "But not if you keep breaking what you don't trust." Bryn lowered his eyes. "I'll leave. I won't ruin this any further." As Bryn boarded the shuttle, the sky seemed to brighten again. Nara stood beside Toma, their bond quiet but steady. "You stood in the middle of a rift," she said, "and didn't fall." "I had help," Toma said, smiling. "The rift between two worlds was not healed yet, but it had not broken either. That was something, that was hope." A soft rain fell across the shining leaves of Virelia. Each drop made the trees hum with a faint glow, like music only the wind could hear. Toma stood near the balcony of the East Tower. holding a small device from Earth in his hands. The message was still on the screen, blinking softly. Toma, return. Situation changing. New orders coming. He read it again and again. The words were short but heavy. Nara walked up beside him. Her long silver robe moved with the breeze. More words from your world? She asked gently. Yes, Toma said, closing the screen. They want me to come back. Or maybe test my loyalty. Nara didn't speak at first. She simply looked out over the land. The glowing river below, twisted like light, made into water. What will you do? She asked. I don't know, he said honestly. I came here to build peace. But it feels like Earth is preparing for something else. War, she asked, though her voice didn't shake. Toma didn't answer. Later that day, the council called for a private meeting. Inside the round silver room, the light was softer than usual. Toma and Nara sat across from Viren and two other elders. We received a signal, Viren said. A ship is coming, not from our stars, not Serenay. Toma felt a chill. Earth, yes, said the elder beside Viren. Your people said it was only a science team, but this is a warship. Toma stood. That can't be true. Maybe they sent no message. They enter without asking, Viren interrupted gently. Nara looked at Toma. They come with silence. That is not peace. Toma felt anger rise inside. They're afraid, that's all. Earth sees what we have here and feels small, just like I once did. Viren nodded slowly, then helped them see clearly. The next morning, the sky changed. A bright appeared above the mountains, growing larger with every moment. The air seemed to hold its breath. The ship was dark gray, long and flat like a blade. Its engines were quiet, but its size made its message clear. Power Toma stepped forward. With Nara, a small group of Serenai behind them, they stood in the open field while the warship hovered silently above. Finally, a small pod dropped from the ship and landed nearby. Two figures stepped out. One was Ambassador Rel, a political officer from Earth. The other was a tall woman and Armor Captain Senna, known for leading defense units in the outer colonies. Toma Rel said with a quick smile, Good to see you alive. Toma didn't smile. Why are you here with a warship? To protect peace, Rel said. We heard of trouble. Bryn sent reports before he left. There were concerns. Concerns, Nara asked. Did you send a sword because of doubt? Captain Senna stepped forward. This planet has unknown power sources, technology beyond ours. He had to respond in case of danger. This isn't danger, Toma said, raising his voice. This is fear. Came because you don't understand? Rel's smile faded. Then help us understand. Invite us in. Let us study the life core. Nara stepped forward now. Her voice was soft but firm. The life core is not a machine. It is part of this world's spirit. You do not study it like a broken toy. Sina crossed her arms. Then we wait above. That night, the warship stayed in the sky like a cloud that blocked the stars. Toma walked alone near the glowing pond. What? Nara found him there, sitting on a smooth stone. You are worried, she said. Yes, he said. If Earth doesn't get answers, they'll act. And if Serenai blocks them, it may lead to something worse. Nara sat beside him. You speak as one caught in the middle. I am, he said. They sat in silence. Then Nara reached into her robe and pulled out a small object-tan ancient Serenai crystal, blue and warm. This is a memory stone, she said. It holds moments. You can speak into it, but it will carry your voice and thoughts. What for? Send them a message not of data, not of numbers. Send them truth. Let Earth hear your heart. Toma held the stone. Will they listen? Only if the voice is real, she said. The next morning, Toma stood at the edge of the landing field, placed the memory stone on a tall silver post, and spoke. My name is Toma. Of Earth, I speak now, not as a soldier or builder, but as someone who came in peace and was met with peace. I walked the echo path. I shared my mind with the Serenai, and she shared hers with me. He paused, then looked at the sky, as if Earth itself could hear. You fear what you do not control. I once feared the same. But fear doesn't build anything. Trust does. Respect does. Listen before you move. Learn before you take, or we will lose what we came to protect.
Right.
He stoned back. The stone glowed once, then rose slowly into the sky, carried by a small drone to the waiting warship above. That night the stars returned. The warship moved slightly, no longer hovering above the main city. It stayed distant, watching, perhaps thinking. Toma stood on the high balcony with Nara. Do you think they heard me? He asked. I think someone did, she said. He looked at her, then smiled gently. When you first asked Mif, I chose you for your beauty, do you remember? I do, she said. I didn't answer then, but I'll answer now. She turned to face him. I chose you because your heart was hidden behind 1,000 walls, and still it reached mine. Nara looked at him for a long moment. Then she smiled, truly smiled for the first time. I chose you, she whispered, because you knocked without breaking. Above them, the stars sang quietly, and somewhere in the deep sky, Earth listened. Morning broke with a pale golden light over the hills of Virelia. The sky was clear again, and the giant warship that once hovered like a shadow had now moved into higher orbit. It was no longer a threat, but not a friend yet either. Toma stood beside Nara in the temple courtyard, where vines grew up the silver walls and flowers opened slowly to the sun. It was quiet, but something had changed. Could feel it in the air. It's a shift. News came quickly. The Serenai Council had met overnight. They had made a decision. Varen came to meet Toma and Nara. His face was calm, but serious. The council has decided, he said. We will invite the humans to visit the life core, but only as watchers, not as takers. Toma nodded slowly. It's the right step. Viren looked at him with steady eyes. You take this step because you helped us believe in a future. Beyond fear, but it must be done carefully, Nara asked. And what of Earth's leaders? They have sent word, Viren replied. They will send a small group. No weapons, no soldiers. Only minds. Toma felt a strange weight lift from his chest. Maybe, just maybe, this could still become something good. 3 days later, the visitors arrived. They came in a smaller ship, quiet and white, shaped like a feather. There were 4 of them scientists, engineers, and 1 quiet diplomat named Len. Toma welcomed them himself, and Nara stood with him. The visitors were respectful, quiet, and curious. They didn't rush. They asked before touching anything. They listened. Together, they were taken to the lower valley, where the entrance to the life core waited behind a wall of crystal vines. The vines parted slowly when Nara touched them, allowing the group inside. The chamber beyond was vast. The walls shimmered with colors that changed like flowing water. In the center was the chorosphere of soft light, floating above a silver base. It pulsed slowly, like a living heart. The humans stood in silence. Even Len, the diplomat, didn't speak for a long while. Finally, he whispered, "It's beautiful." Nara nodded. "It is alive, and it listens." One of the engineers, a young woman with careful eyes, asked, "What powers it?" Nara touched her hand to her chest. "Harmony. It draws strength from the peace of this land. The balance between heart and thought." The humans exchanged glances. They looked both amazed and confused. Toma smiled. "It's not something you can plug into a lab, but it's real." The next few days, the visitors stayed in the lower city, walking the paths, speaking with elders, and even joining the children in the floating learning circles. Every day, they seemed less like outsiders. Nara watched them quietly. "Your people learn fast." Toma nodded.
Ow.
"They've seen something they didn't expect." Nara turned to him.
Ow.
"Do you think Earth will want more now?" He hesitated. "Maybe, but maybe now they'll understand they must ask, not take." Shh. On the sixth day, Len asked for a private meeting with Toma. They sat under the glowing tree in the central garden. I need to tell you something, Len said carefully. The Council of Earth is watching. They're pleased so far that there's pressure. Toma frowned. Pressure? For what? To ask for? More access? More study? Possibly even a shared outpost here. Toma sat back. That's a lot to ask. I agree, Len said. But they believe if peace is real here, we should be. Part of it not just visitors, Toma thought for a moment. Peace isn't something you join. It's something you live. I'll tell them that, Len said. But they'll want a sign. Later that evening, Toma and Nara stood at the cliffs. Watching the stars? I think Earth wants to stay, Toma said. Nara nodded. Will they stay as friends? I don't know yet, he replied. But we may need to choose soon. She turned to him, eyes calm. Then choose with your full heart. I already did, he said. That night, the life core pulsed brighter than ever before. No one understood why. The elders said it was listening, but the next morning the pulse changed, became faster. Louder, Toma, Nara, and the engineers rushed to the chamber. The floating sphere of light spun faster and brighter, casting long shadows. What's happening? Toma asked. Nara placed her hand near the core. It's reaching out to who? To you. The engineer stepped back, unsure what to do. But Nara looked at Toma and whispered, Go. Place your hand near it. Toma walked slowly forward. His hand rose as it neared the sphere. The light bent toward him. The moment his fingers brushed the glow, a wave of warmth passed through. His body, he saw flashes, visions of two worlds. He saw Earth full of sound and struggle. And he saw Virilia full of peace and silence. And then saw something new. A bridge, not made of stone, not made of light, but of shared trust. The core pulsed once more. The light became calm again. He stepped back, eyes wide. It chose. You? Nara said softly. No, Toma whispered. It showed me what must be done. That evening, a message was sent from Toma, Nara, and Len together, a message to Earth. This world does not need to be owned, it only needs to be respected. Virilia offers knowledge, not power, connection, not control. We invite Earth to join. In peace, but only if it listens first. The reply came quickly. Understood. Earth will send no more warships. We accept the conditions. A peace mission will follow in 30 days. Toma let out a long breath when he read it. Nara placed her hand on his. You've turned the wheel, she said. The path is open now. At night, under the full twin moons? Nara looked into Toma's eyes once again. You never answered my first question, she said with a small smile. Toma smiled too. I did, just not with words. She tilted her head. Still, I want to hear it. He leaned close and said softly, I didn't choose you for your beauty. I chose you because you saw something in me before I saw it in myself. She closed her eyes. Then we both chose with truth. And they stood together, two hearts, one bond in the quiet turning of two worlds. The day the peace mission arrived was unlike any other on Virilia. The twin moons hung low and bright in the sky, casting soft silver light over the city and gardens. Flowers glowed gently, and the air smelled of rain and hope. Toma stood at the edge of the landing field, Nara beside him. The small ship from Earth touched down slowly, its smooth hull shining under the moons. From it stepped a group of humans, not soldiers, not warriors, but scientists, diplomats, teachers, and builders. Their leader was Len, who had helped bridge the gap between the two worlds. He smiled warmly as he approached. We come with open hands and open minds, Len said. To learn, to share, to grow together. Nara stepped forward, her eyes bright with welcome. Virilia opens its heart to you. May you walk with respect. The days that followed, the humans and Serenai worked side by side. They studied the life core with reverence, learning its rhythms and secrets. They explored the floating gardens, shared stories, and even built small homes that blended with the silver trees. Toma found himself busy, but never too busy to steal a quiet moment with Nara. They walked beneath the glowing leaves and talked. About the future? Do you think Earth will change? Nara asked. Toma smiled gently. It already has. Change is a path, not a place. We have to keep walking it. Nara took his hand, and then we walk it together. Called to the council hall. The chamber was filled with elders, Scifi leaders, and the peace mission members. At the center stood Viran. We gather today to honor a new chapter, Viran said. The bond between worlds is no longer a question. It is a promise. It gestured toward Toma and Nara. Together, they showed us the way through trust, courage, and open hearts. The room filled with quiet applause. Viran continued, we propose a new beginning, a shared council of humans and Scifi to guide our worlds together. Len nodded in agreement. We accept, with humility and hope. Toma looked at Nara. She smiled back, proud and strong. As evening fell, the new council met for the first time beneath the great silver tree. Its branches stretched wide, covered with soft light. Toma stood before the group. This is more than a new government, he said. It is a new family. It's a chance to build peace not only between two worlds but in every heart. Nara's voice joined his. We come from different stars, but we share one sky. Let us walk this path with respect for all life. The group agreed to open borders for knowledge, culture, and friendship. They promised to protect the life core and the land it nourished. Months passed. The bond between humans and Scifi deepened. Children from both worlds played together in the floating gardens. Learning languages and songs, scientists created new tools inspired by Scifi technology, but designed with Earth's care. Farmers found ways to share food between worlds, using both human soil and Virelia's unique plants. And every day, Toma and Nara met in the quiet moments walking the echo path, where their minds and hearts stayed forever linked. One night, under the full moons, Toma and Nara stood at the highest tower of the city, looking out over the two worlds connected by their hope. Nara turned to him and whispered, "Did you choose me for my beauty?" Toma smiled softly, his eyes reflecting the stars. "No," he said. "I chose you because you showed me what true beauty means." She looked at him, waiting. It is not in how one looks. It is in courage, in kindness, in the strength to open one's heart even when it is difficult. Nara smiled, tears shining like jewels in her eyes. That is a beauty worth choosing. Toma took her hand. "And I will choose you again every day." As they stood together, the life core pulsed gently below them, its light steady and calm. A new era had begun. Two worlds once strangers were now family, and their story was only just beginning. The end.